What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 46. This one is written by Mark Waid with artwork by Adrian Gutierrez. And this is continuing the merger storyline part 2. Basically, Lex Luthor and Joker fused together utilizing some sort of device known as the Absorbascan, I think that's how you pronounce it, to become a villain known as the Merger. So that's the fusion of Joker and Lex Luthor. Meanwhile, Batman and Superman got hit with the Ghost Ray, and they're turning into Danny Phantom without the ability to control their ghost powers. Well, not quite. They're just kind of like not physically stable. But anyways, so the merger, the fusion of the two most iconic villains of both Batman and Superman, is a pretty formidable threat. You have the insanity of Joker mixed with Lex Luthor's intellect and resources. So having them confused as one, not a good sign for all the heroes. But Batman and Superman, they're unable to kind of like, since they're not solid enough to fight, they do run into Hal Jordan, and they tell him to kind of do something, just kind of the shenanigans they did all the way back during the Devil Neza arc, where they just kind of formed into one singular being, which I thought was a really cool surprise. I'm like, okay, what are Batman and Superman going to do this time? Yes, let's get the fusion of them again. So it's basically the fusion's like a fusion comic, and I remember how awesome it was during the beginning of World's Finest when they did this sort of thing, and I'm so happy they found a way to kind of bring it back and use this to go toe-to-toe with the Joker and that. So, but anyway, or the merger. So the merger, using this device, they're using the Absorbicon, and they're basically just kind of turning the city of Metropolis mad, and people all around kind of a little bit insane. We do get the big fight scene between Batman and Superman, and because it's like a half Batman, half Superman combination, kryptonite may be extremely painful, but it's not lethal because it's only half Kryptonian. So he's effective, but he still has kind of Batman's abilities in that there too. They get in the big fight scene back and forth, and then we get the revelation that the Joker and Lex, as the merger, now know who like are the identities of Batman and Superman, and now that knowledge is being projected, and others are like, wait a minute, we know who Superman and Batman are, and you see their minds kind of scramble a little bit there. So that's a really interesting cliffhanger to kind of leave itself on, knowing which potential directions they can go in with the storyline. Obviously, since it's set in the past, they're going to have to find a workaround with it, but that is an intriguing way just to kind of see like where the storyline could go. And obviously, it's going to have to kind of be jumbled around to get to kind of make people go back to the status quo, but I thought that was a bit of an interesting cliffhanger. And plus, getting to see the return of the Batman Superman fusion with the costume and everything, I thought that was pretty amazing. So I'm happy to see that. I'm a sucker sometimes for some of the fusion stuff. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, so if you can get some sort of combinations like this from time to time, it leaves things to be pretty exciting. And for the first time, and it feels like in a while, like I really had this spark of excitement for the World's Finest comic book again, just mainly because I got the fusion of Batman and Superman once again, and it had an interesting ending for the storyline. It feels like, okay, we're stepping the game up a little bit more, and I'm thankful for that, because I feel like, I've enjoyed World's Finest, but it hasn't quite reached the levels of the title from earlier on. But now that we got the fusion of Batman and Superman back, and we got this whole revelation at the end with the merger character, I thought that was pretty exciting stuff. And plus, we get the big fight scene between all these characters, kind of like their fusion versions of themselves, so I thought that was pretty fun. So, and then the artwork by Adrian Gutierrez is really good here. I think this is where the art's looked its best so far in the series, at least for this particular artist. I know it's not Dan Wara, and I do miss Dan Wara on the title, but I think this is like the strongest stuff I've seen from Gutierrez. So good stuff overall. Really excited for which direction they can go in next. And if you enjoy World's Finest, this is definitely one to pick up. I think this is like the strongest one they've had in quite a while, this particular issue. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it. What did you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. Hit that bell for notifications, all the other fun stuff. I'm almost caught up with the DC books. I think I got maybe a few more left. I gotta go back and check, but we're making some progress. I had to spend a long time kind of covering all that stuff from the other day, but getting World's Finest out of the way and then moving on to the next thing, it's a good feeling. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.